We're just going to get right into this conversation. We've invited Tom and Rachel Voss.
Yeah, we did.
One of the sweetest couples you'll ever meet. Just fun, funny, and we love having them as part of our Santos Church Banding family. And as much as we love and know them, we want others to love and know them as well. And so that's why we've invited them in to share a little bit about their story. And so either Tom or Rachel, you choose who's going to start, but share a little bit about your story.
The 8 will start.
So Rachel's an Enneagram 8, and Tom is an Enneagram 9.
Yes, yes. So you know how that works, really.
That's actually like my husband and I didn't know that. Good to know.
Yeah.
That's why we have to stick together.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, I met Tom when he moved into my neighborhood. And we've been married for 55 years.
Wow.
We have 2 children, 3 grandchildren, and they are the love of my life. Tom still is, sometimes, most of the time.
55 years together. That's a long time.
I moved into the neighborhood, made friends with a few guys, and they said, "Oh, you've got to see this girl.
Wow.
You've got to see this girl."
Yeah.
So I asked, "How old is she?" 12. 12. There's laws, I think. Even at that age, I knew there was a law. But yeah, as soon as I saw her,
You knew?
yeah,
You were how old at the time?
I was. Let me see. I was 15, I think.
15. All right.
Okay.
That's not bad.
3 years difference.
Yeah, I used to get her attention, I would throw things at her. I would sick. What do 15-year-old boys do?
Wow.
I threw apples and rocks, and I sicked my dog on her. Anything. I did. Anything to get her attention.
Wow.
And she wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Obviously.
Now, see, I didn't
was
see
a
it that
kid.
way. I thought I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I was a kid. I loved my girlfriends back and forth. But as we got older, we knew that if we rode our bikes across that corner, we could get his attention.
Wow.
Oh.
So he caught your eye as well.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just ask, fast forward, has he improved any of his techniques of like flirting with you? Is he still throwing apricots and...
Sometimes he throws other things.
Oh my gosh.
But the best part is when he throws the candy.
There you go. There you go.
That's the trick, man.
So tell me, like, you guys got married, like how you guys made a living. What did you do?
Well, we got married 11 days before I went to Vietnam.
Wow.
Rachel was a senior in high school.
Okay.
She was 17. I was 19 at the time. I was in junior college, not getting very good grades, so I was drafted. So we wanted to get married. I just felt I needed to do that before I left. And in hindsight, that may not have been the most mature decision. It has worked for us, but a 17-year-old and 19-year-old, you're just not mature. The average 17 and 19-year-old are not mature enough to make those kind of decisions.
Yeah.
We did. It's worked.
So you went to Vietnam, you came back, then what happened after that?
We bought a house just a few houses away from my father. The street she used to walk up to see her girlfriend, so it's still within throwing distance. I got in an apprenticeship program. I went to work. Rachel went to work. Of course, she ended up pregnant right away, so that's some of that immaturity stuff. Or maturity. Maybe it was maturity. Anyway, so we just...
Well, you were married.
Yeah.
That's
mature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a mature thing to do.
Yeah. We kind of got them in line, but
So what line of work did you guys do?
I operated heavy equipment.
Wow.
I did that for a little bit too.
You did?
I have my level 1 license to operate backhoes, loaders, bobcats, all that level 1 stuff at least. None of the bigger things, but yeah.
And Rachel, what about you?
Well, I immediately went into accounting.
Wow.
My first job was with Great Plains Western Cattle Company. And in those days, you wore dresses. And we would fly out of Orange County Airport, go down to Brawley and physically get out of the plane, these little planes, and count the cattle as they went over where they weighed them.
Wow.
And you had to do that in a dress in Brawley
Oh
at
my
115 degrees.
Ew.
What a job.
Dude, we're complaining over here about 102.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, that's a woman.
but it was a really good thing because you know how the small world is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the guys that I worked for first ended up, at the end of my career, hiring me to do exactly the same thing, except for we had the ranch. So I was able to do the calf ranch. So I spent my whole entire career
Really?
traveling. And
So you flew a lot.
when I was 50, I decided to leave the firm in-house because I no longer wanted to be the manager of what we called the pit, where we had all the accountants. And I said, I'm ready to, my kids are no longer at home anymore. They're in school and gone. So I traveled.
Wow.
And in those days, there wasn't GPSs. They would say, at the windmill. And I would go to Idaho, New Mexico, Texas, Wisconsin. I
Gosh.
loved every minute of it.
What an interesting job. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Tom, you also did some law enforcement, right?
About 3 years after we were married, I was riding with a guy operating equipment as an apprentice. Anyway, he was a reserve officer, and he got me into this. So I did police reserve work for a little over a year.
Wow. I remember we did I don't know if it was Fun Fact Friday. I think it was Fun Fact Friday. And we had a picture of you
Yep.
In your,
It looked pretty good.
yeah,
too.
CHP, or looked like,
The badge was showing.
yeah, looked like, you know, what's that,
Clint
Chips?
Eastwood.
You remember the TV show Chips?
Chips. I don't know how I know that because that's before me
Yeah,
too. but I know what
exactly.
you're talking
Hey, I'm
about,
kind
yeah.
of dating myself
Yeah,
there.
It's all right.
And another thing is, another fascinating thing, because that was part of that Fun Fact Friday, is that you used to race motorcycles.
I did in the desert racing. I guess it's a rest therapy thing. I do that for the adrenaline rush.
Yeah. So you're an adrenaline junkie.
Not so much anymore. In this season of my life, that adrenaline thing is not nearly as important as being able to walk and make sure you wake up in the morning.
Right.
A good cup of coffee.
Get some adrenaline.
The basics.
Yeah. But yeah.
So you used to do the long distance races.
They were usually 40, 50 miles.
Wow.
And I did, some 75 milers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, I was
at high
exhausted.
speed.
Oh, high speed. Yeah. Across the desert as fast as you can go.
Wow. Amazing.
Anyway.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That all came to an end. I ended up with prostate cancer from Agent Orange. And once I went through the process, they told me, because of the protocol they had me on, that I was going to lose bone mass and muscle mass. So they said, get rid of that motorcycle. So I had to stop riding.
Wow.
But you know how often I see those bikes heading to the desert?
And you're drooling?
Yeah. Last night next thing I know, I'm looking at, my son bought a new motorcycle. Next thing I know, I'm looking at these bikes online and I can't do this. There was a little voice that ate, was whispering in my ear. No.
She was ready to throw apricots at you. Hey, I want to hear too the story behind that you guys are good friends with Steve and Peggy Brown, Matt Brown's parents, and you guys play games. You play games with each other and been doing this for a long time. So kind of tell us a little bit about that
We
story.
highlighted that too.
Yeah,
We
we did.
highlighted you're obsessed
They're
with
so
the
fun.
games. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
Sorry.
Steve and I graduated high school together. We also played football together in high school.
wow.
So we graduated in the same class. So I knew him through high school. I'll let the 8 take it from there.
Well, first of all, we moved from Chino. After the same house for 42 years, we moved out here to Beaumont. And Tom and I, in our old church, were cancer care leaders, facilitators. And when we started, there was 6 in our group, and when we ended, there was 40 of us.
Wow.
Because there are a lot of families didn't realize that sometimes you really need the help. So when we moved out here, we tried a lot of different places, and it didn't just feel like home. So we went to a class reunion, and Peggy and Steve were there, and we were kind of updating what we were doing. And I said, we're looking for a church. I said, we're having the hardest time. I called my pastor, Jim Lewis at Inland, and he said, Rachel, you're trying too hard. Let God do the work. And I said, man, I'm impatient. I'm an 8. I want it today. So anyway, when we were there, Peggy said, wait a minute, I might have some news. And she said, it looks like we could possibly be opening one in Banning. She goes, that's like 6 miles from you.
Wow.
So I drove by Nicolette, and I started taking pictures, and I was sending it to Peggy. I said, well, this is how far we are. This is how far we are. And so we came and did what they called at that time the soft opening, where we met in the depot. I don't even know if we called it the depot. We just called it, this is our sanctuary. And the first person we ran into there was one of our old pastors from Inland Hills. And we also ran into John and Luann Arns. And the very first thing they did, because Tom complimented Luann, he goes, man, your voice is beautiful. And of course, that's Tom talking to the women here. And,
At least he's not throwing apricots.
yes, that's right. I'm not
Give
throwing
me
any
time.
apricots.
Give me time.
And he said, and she goes, well, thank you. And John says, we have a community group. We joined a community group the very first day we were here.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
It was the best thing. And we chose, Tom and I chose not to do any kind of leading for cancer care or any of those things. We thought this is our time because, like we're starting to age. And so we joined their group, and before we knew it, there was 4 couples, then 5 couples, and then before we knew it, another group left, and somebody else came in, and now we're with young marrieds, young singles, new babies have been born in the last 5 years. I just love seeing this community grow like that.
Yeah.
So that's where my heart is community.
Yeah. No,
Whether it's high school community friends, our neighborhood, church. I have childhood friends, and 3 of them I'm seeing tomorrow. We try to get together. So community is so important to thrive through life.
Yeah, no, that's a good plug specifically, and especially considering that we just got through a message on the importance of community and living in community and how God's plan is for us to grow in wisdom through that. So you guys are a testimony of that. So we are just so thankful that you guys are part of this campus. It brings us great joy when you guys show up and with your smiles and sense of humor and hugs and everything else. So thank you for coming and just sharing a bit about your story and sharing that with the rest of the Banning community.
Thank you.
I don't think I've laughed that much in a while.
My face kind of hurts in a good way.
Yes.
Yeah, we love you guys. You guys are so sweet.
Oh, we love you guys. And thank you for the way you serve, too. I mean, that's a big gift for us.
Yes. You're
Major
all
gift.
a plus.
We love you guys.
All right.
Don't make me cry. I'm a 4.
John, can you hear me?
All right. Well, it's been real.
Thanks.
Can you? Just answer.